Can't say quite as much for the second two Tigers, but or the second and the third Tiger, but
well, the second and third Tiger got suffered from Tiger syndrome.
And that is true.
I have to say though, this is
and
the
the
first
Americans
game
suffered from Sherman syndrome.
I've ever seen without storms. First, can't believe, no storms. Just amazes me.
So what did you think of the PE player, Eklipse?
Well, he had a lot of good unit conservation. Could use a little bit more micro. I mean, he was basically microing a huge squadron or blob of Panzer Grenadiers and Fallschirmjäger. Though the one thing that irked me the most, if they really, really wanted to win, was he saved the manpower to throw some Fallschirmjägers in the south and then cap the south point. Because the Allies were just completely consolidated around the middle point. There was no way they were going to be able to give that up.
And speaking of the bottom right hand VP, notice that the Wehrmacht player apparently has put a LMG-42 squad, a bunker with pyros in it. You could upgrade those bunkers, you know.
If you click on the bunker though, it's aimed the wrong way, so...
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Just,
well,
that's kind of important.
He could have angled that bunker so it covers the entire area, so nobody could sneak through.
Well, he could have just stuck it in the back corner and it would have covered pretty much everything.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah. One thing though, the PE, if you look in his base, there's 2 Shreks outside of his HQ. Could have desperately needed those.
Oh yeah.
Not to mention the 2 dead Shermans, not only outside the Wehrmacht base, but and not only outside the PE base, but if you look inside the Wehrmacht base, there's the M8, another Sherman, God knows how many other Shermans that were destroyed by artillery. Just a tank graveyard. I'm actually surprised that the Wehrmacht player didn't use a couple of Pyos to pick up some free munitions off that.
Well,
he did salvage 1 tank. I saw that and I was like, yes, salvage, yes. But the others, I don't know what happened there.
Well, the guy I was watching for this round was Now What? And now I know what. He didn't really do that much. He started with a weapon support center start, brought out a couple of MGs and stuck them in buildings and basically left them there. He tried to bring out some snipers. He did reasonably well with them, but they all died pretty fast. Went infantry company, brought out some rangers, spent a lot of time leaving the rangers in his base. Went motor pool, brought out some M8s, lost some M8s. Mostly lost a lot of M8s. Built himself a tank depot, spammed Shermans for a while, kept throwing them at people's bases, not supporting the British attacks or not helping fend off the Axis attacks. Lost a humongous amount of Shermans. I'm actually surprised that he was able to keep one alive at the end, but that one certainly hadn't been spawned very early, so that's no real surprise. Just not a lot of coordination between the teams.
Can I just say something though? At least he picked
Sure.
the Doctrine. At least he picked the Doctrine to use it for its abilities. Unlike Fran, he chose Blitz just for the Tiger when you could go Terror, have a King Tiger, and Force Retreat. I'm just I'm in awe that, you know, he only picked that Doctrine just for that. Because no Stormtroopers, didn't utilize the Doctrine abilities to a certain extent to, you know, what you should use it for.
Right. I bet.
Well, that's true, but Now What never did use the off-map combat group.
Grats, no, but that's good because the off-map is a waste. It's 800 manpower for what? Sometimes you get 3 mortars and a rifle squad. It's a guessing game with that. You shouldn't use it for that. But if all
I
my,
thought it's
you
gotten
know, if
better since.
no, well, an M8 without skirts, off-map late game is useless. Sure, you can lay mines and stuff, but it's just not worth that much. It's not at all. But you know, with Thrawn, it just seemed to me like the tank, that was the most important thing. He didn't use much else. Yeah, he got a stew, but he base rushed and it died. Terror, you know, you get the Tiger, but Force Retreat for that game would have been very good, I think.
True. And you're probably right about the off-map combat groups. My only real complaint is that he was floating so much in the way of manpower that he should have just done something with it, even if it was only to gamble.
Well, how much was he floating at the end of the game?
At the end of the game, he only has 611, but there were points where he had almost 1,200 manpower floating.
Wow.
That's too high.
And he had plenty of pop cap to build stuff. He just wasn't doing anything with it. And the units he did have were mostly sitting idle.
Well, if he
Same
was
with
going to do that,
Thrawn.
yeah, if they're going to do that, might as well bring out some artillery units and use them.
Well, he did eventually build an M2 105 howitzer, and he got, I think it's something around 19 infantry kills, 2 vehicle kills, and that Tiger kill with it, which was pretty good. But so his targeting was a little bit off at times. Sometimes he'd use it on strategic points and that sort of thing, when he should have been just capping the VP with it and then using the howitzer to keep the Axis forces away. It's a great way to lure them in and kill them.
Well, that's the thing about the howitzer is, you know, if you lack line of sight, it's generally going to miss a lot of the times. Like, you really have to have a sniper out there, you know, just a spot.
Well, he did build quite a few snipers, but he got really close in with them. They were always at knife fight range, and then the Axis infantry would just walk right over him. Even that Vet 3 sniper, it was in way too close, and he didn't retreat it, he didn't move it in time, so a Tiger managed to kill it in just one shot.